our next story, we're going to be talking about Mariah May. Of course, Mariah May is the former AEW Women's World Champion. And from what it looks like, she is gone from All Elite Wrestling. I'm reading this from 411 Mania's website. PW Insider is reporting that Mariah May has parted ways with AEW as her profile has been removed from the company's roster page. That usually happens when somebody leaves the company and are a free agent. WWE sources noted that she's expected to start there soon. Fightful Select confirms that in May, or I should say that May, not in May, Mariah May is indeed WWE-BOUND, and their sources noted that WWE had interest in her as soon as they heard that she was available. No shocker, because she is a star. Of course, they can't contact talent unless they are free to actually sign. Mariah May's management says that her AEW deal has not officially expired, and WWE sources claim that a contract with them has not been signed. It is believed that she will do so the moment her AEW deal is done. Most people in AEW expected that she would move on to WWE following the Hollywood ending match with Toni Storm earlier this year, which, by the way, was a fantastic match. You can call that the match of the year, or that can be in discussion for the match of the year, because that match was fantastic. But of course, following the Hollywood ending match with Toni Storm earlier in the year at Revolution, the most surprising part of her leaving AEW was that her contract was only for 2 years with no additional option year. Now you got to take that into note. It was only for 2 years with no additional option year. Gee, I wonder why. Now, from the stories that I hear, Mariah May seems like somebody whose dream it was to wrestle for WWE. That's the story going around. She's always wanted to go to the WWE. Because if you really think about it, that is the end all be all. The WWE is the industry leader. You know, some people, prefer to wrestle in organizations like TNA or New Japan or AEW. But let's be honest, the WWE is the creme de la creme. It's the industry leader. If you are a wrestler and you are striving not to wrestle out of WrestleMania, I am sorry, but you are in the wrong business. It's like saying you want to be a pro wrestler, but you don't want to be the world champion. It just makes no sense whatsoever. Every single wrestler wants to either A, wrestle for the WWE, or B, be a world champion. Okay? And Mariah May is one of those people. She eventually used AEW to her advantage, and it was a smart business move on her end. Now, before I get into more talk about Mariah May, about, what she's going to be doing next, what were my thoughts on her AEW run? Because she had a very, quick run in AEW. She's been there for a little over a year. But what were my thoughts on Mariah May's run in AEW? Her run was fantastic. For the time that she was there, she used her time in AEW wisely, and they booked her tremendously well. AEW booked her tremendously well. The whole Mariah May and Toni Storm storyline started all the way back when she first joined the company. The storyline was she was a huge fan of timeless Toni Storm, and they partnered Toni Storm with Mariah May. Now, you as a wrestling fan, seeing situations like this before, you already know what's going to happen. There's going to be the eventual split. Wrestling 101, it always happens. But the storyline was very good, and once Mariah May won the Owen, and the angle that they shot with her grabbing the heel and basically just hitting the end portion of the heel right onto the face of Toni Storm, it was a fantastic angle to close off Dynamite last year. And that was when she won the Owen. And of course, it led to her winning the AEW Women's title All In at Wembley Stadium. She won the AEW Women's World Championship at Wembley Stadium in front of 50,000 people. What a thing to add to your resume, right? Now, her run as the AEW Women's Champion, I'm going to be honest, was kind of forgettable. I did not like her run as the AEW Women's Champion. I just didn't. It was very forgettable. And I'm not going to blame Mariah May on that. I'm going to blame AEW for that, because clearly AEW did not have a plan for Mariah May after she won the title. They just did not have a plan for her. They just didn't. And that's the case for a lot of people. They pushed them to the moon. They pushed them to the moon, and after they won their respective championship, they eventually fall by the wayside, and AEW just has nothing for them creatively. Nothing. It wasn't until Toni Storm came back, and then Toni Storm came back, but she didn't come back as timeless Toni Storm. She came back as the old Toni Storm, pretending that she was, just making her debut with AEW. which was such an interesting storyline. And then she kept that way up until, of course, she eventually revealed herself as Timeless Toni Storm. And they did that on a Collision. They didn't even do that on a Dynamite. They did it on a Collision, which is very weird because they could have done it on Dynamite and it would have been huge. But, you know, they did it on Collision. I say that because more people watch Dynamite than they do. I don't even watch Collision. Because to me, Collision is just not interesting. Like, AEW doesn't give me anything on Collision. I'm sorry. If you want to watch AEW, you can just watch Dynamite and you'll be set. You'll be set. Not to say that there's bad stuff that happens on Collision. I'm just saying you'll be set if you just watch Dynamite. But they did the whole reveal. I believe they wrestled at, of course, Grand Slam Australia, and that was where Toni actually won the women's title. Yeah, that was where Toni won back the women's title from Mariah May at Grand Slam Australia. And then, of course, they had the rematch, the Hollywood ending at Revolution. And I don't care what anybody says, the Hollywood ending match between Toni Storm and Mariah May should have main evented that show. I was actually against that. As we were leading up to Revolution back in March, I was actually against them putting that match in the main event, considering you had Adam Copeland versus Jon Moxley, and that was the bigger match. Even though people hated the whole Death Rider storyline, that was clearly the bigger match. But looking back, the Adam Copeland versus Jon Moxley match was atrocious, and the finish was even worse. I completely changed my mind on that. I'm going to be honest, Mariah May and Toni Storm should have main evented that show. But at the same time, I understand as to why they did not put that match in the main event. And they put it like in the middle of the card? Because they knew Mariah May was on her way out. And it's a smart move on AEW's end. It just is. But I don't care but you got to be realistic with yourself. The Hollywood ending match is by far one of the best matches of 2025. And if you want to call that the match of the year, I don't blame you for that either. If you say that Toni Storm versus Mariah May in the Hollywood ending is a match of the year contender or a candidate for match of the year, dude, I will not go against that. I will not go against that because those two women tore the house down. They tore the house down in Los Angeles. They absolutely tore the house down. They stole the show. And it was a bloodbath on a show that had a lot of bloodbaths. But they stole the show. And it was the perfect send-off for Mariah May. The perfect send-off for Mariah May, in my opinion. Just perfect on AEW. Like, literally the perfect send-off. What a way to go out. Even though she lost the match, she worked her ass off in that match. And you can tell. You can tell she worked her ass off. And you can tell WWE was looking at that match and be like, yeah, we're going to sign her. Look at what she did in this match. We're going to sign her. So, yeah, that was her last match in AEW, the Hollywood ending. What a way to go out. But from what it looks like, Mariah May is WWE bound. She's WWE bound, and it looks like once her contract is going to expire and once she becomes a free agent, she is going to be signing with World Wrestling Entertainment. Good for her. Good for her. She absolutely deserves it. She deserves it. If she wants to go to the WWE, let her go to the WWE. Let her go. It's been her dream to always wrestle for the WWE. Take that opportunity. She used AEW to elevate herself. Great. That's what you're supposed to do. Elevate your stock. That's what AEW did for Jade Cargill. That is what AEW did for Ricky Starks. That is what AEW did for Cody Rhodes. WWE signed Cody Rhodes, and that was basically the first major blow to AEW right there. Mariah May is no different. Mariah May is no different. She used AEW as a way to elevate her career, and you cannot blame her for that. Everybody should be doing that. Everybody should be doing that. I don't care who you are. Everybody should be doing that. It is a smart career move. She knows her worth. If you are a wrestler and you do not know your worth, you are in the wrong business. You are in the wrong business. I'm sorry. But Mariah May going to WWE, with all the talk about her potentially signing with WWE, which seems like an inevitability at this point, where is she going to go? Is she going to go straight to the main roster, that being Raw or SmackDown, or is she going to go straight to NXT? I talked about this in my recent video that I uploaded on my YouTube channel. The fan in me really wants her to go straight to the main roster. I really do want her to go straight to the main roster, especially on Raw. I really want her to go straight to, because you can tell Mariah May, like, she's perfect for the main roster. Like, imagine a match between Mariah May and Tiffany Stratton. Like, if she was going to wrestle Tiffany Stratton, that means she would have to go on the SmackDown roster, but that's besides the point. But imagine a match between her and Tiffany Stratton. That's like the ultimate dream match right there. Just like the ultimate dream match between Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. Mariah May versus Tiffany Stratton would be the exact same thing. The fan in me really wants her to go straight to the main roster, but if you guys have been paying attention to NXT, number one, WWE called up Julia from NXT. Now she's wrestling full-time on the SmackDown roster. And WWE recently made the announcement that they just called up Stephanie Vaquer. And Stephanie Vaquer is going to be a part of the Raw roster. And it makes total sense for you to split Stephanie Vaquer and Julia, because they were the top two women on NXT. Why are you going to put them on just one brand on the main roster? It'd make more sense to have a little bit of balance. So, like, you have Stephanie Vaquer on the Raw side and you have Julia on the SmackDown side. It makes total sense. That leaves a void, unfortunately. If you're calling up two of your top stars in the women's division on NXT, that leaves a void in the NXT women's division. It just leaves a void. It's the perfect Mariah May is the perfect candidate to fill that void for the NXT women's division. Imagine Stephanie Vaquer as the top female on Raw, Julia as the top female on SmackDown, and Mariah May as the top female on NXT. Dude, that's crazy. Three of the best women's wrestlers in the world are like at the top of their respective... Bro, it's such a cool thought to think. You know what I'm saying? Mariah May, if you look at it from a business perspective, it makes more sense for her to go straight down to NXT because, again, there is a void to fill in the women's division. I mean, for God's sakes, Stephanie Vaquer just dropped her NXT women's title this past Tuesday on NXT. So, again, Mariah May is WWE bound, and from what it looks like, she's probably going to be going to NXT. And NXT is the perfect spot for Mariah May. The perfect spot. I mean, you still got Jordynne Grace there. Like, bro, imagine a match between Mariah May and Jordynne Grace. That'd be something. I'd be excited about that. I don't care what anybody says. I'd be excited about that. Not only that, Mariah May clearly looks like a star. Clearly looks like a star. You can market around Mariah May 110%. 110%. That's what I see happening. But from what it looks like, Mariah May has gone from the AEW roster. She's no longer going to be a part of AEW. She had her run in AEW. She had a great run in AEW. For the amount of time that she was there, she had a phenomenal run in All Elite Wrestling. But from what it looks like, she's going to be leaving AEW and she's going to be WWE bound, and she's going to be signing with WWE once she becomes a free agent. Thanks, guys, for checking out this clip of the WrestleHavoc Podcast. If you guys want more clips like this, please make sure to like and subscribe to the WrestleHavoc Clips channel right here on YouTube. If you guys want to watch the full show, the link will be in the description below. Catch new episodes of the WrestleHavoc Podcast every Sunday night live, not only on the main WrestleHavoc channel, but also on the WNN World News Network YouTube channel and Facebook page. I'll see you guys all in the next video. Peace.